right, we're back out in the field with Charlie Apperson, and today Charlie is doing some top dressing on some wheat for this summer. And Charlie, I was going to see if you could kind of tell us a couple of things. The first thing is, this was a new field, and kind of walk us through the process for starting a new field.
Well, on this particular one, we didn't have any of our headings hard coated, which we do on most of them. So I had to make at least one AB line, so the auto steer will work, and it'll basically drive itself from one end of the field to the other. There's part of this field that we'll have to drive ourselves, just because of the contours of it, the shape. So.
And is it kind of like a plane? You disengage the autopilot and take it to hand? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like right now, to disconnect it.
You just move the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, then I can just re-engage it since we're not to the end of the field yet. Yeah, it doesn't take much. I don't have to do hardly anything to disengage that. We'll go around this corner here, and I'll just start driving.
So basically, once you set that AB line, the sprayer knows kind of the distance it was away from that initial line, and it just references the rest of the field on that first line. Is that how that works?
Well, you've got what we call a track spacing, and we have our track spacing here set at 120 feet. So it's going to make a line 120 feet over from your other line.
Okay, I see. And it just follows that exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like here, we made the line over there. It's coming into effect here. You can see this would be the line, but we just free-handed this part down here. Choose this. Not a way I can do this. See, but if I go to that line, I'll have a skip in the field because it's not lining up right. This edge of the field's not lining up with that edge. Right. Where we made our AB line. See, I'm even inside of my line, so I would have a skip there. Okay. So I'll have to come over and catch this next line that'll come up. It's that dark blue one there. And only spray part of the boom, because what I'm trying to do is square the field up as far as north to south. So do that at the start, and it makes it easier, like say we get another new field or whatever, you know how much to put in your sprayer. If you have to reload, because you can figure, especially on a square field or something, you know how many gallons it's taking a pass, so you can just reset all that, refigure it, but it's just habit of squaring up your field here to do this.
So are the lines always in the same direction, or can you literally set a line any direction you want? I can set it anywhere, any way I want. Okay. We can, like when we're drilling wheat, instead of, say, going straight east and west or north and south, we'll drill them at an angle. We normally drill our wheat at an angle because we'll come back and no-till our milo or corn into that wheat stubble. So therefore, you're not going like straight down a row with your next row. You're crossing them like this, and it just helps with consistency and balling up of the planters and stuff like that. Yeah. It also kind of helps the combines too, because they'll run straight, and when your wheat rows are a little angle, you have a constant feed across there instead of just in certain areas. Gotcha. And the viewers, you can kind of see what Charlie's doing here. Obviously the right hand side of the boom's not spraying, and we're kind of, the left hand side is spraying. Trying to see, then like until we get it back around to the north edge, I'll have to freehand this, just drive it, and I'll make certain that this part of the boom is over into the blue, so I don't have any skips in this. And typically, GPS has always been
you know, it's accurate within a couple of feet, maybe more, but I think the farming GPS is accurate within a couple of inches. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it depends on, there's different levels of it. You've got, like with John Deere, what they call SF1, which is within a few inches. SF3 is like an inch. We're running RTK on our planters, and we put them on the sprayers now, and that's supposed to be sub-inch accuracy.
Really? So earlier we were talking a little bit about the pros and cons, or advantages and disadvantages to top dressing, you know, putting fertilizer on the wheat crop versus other methods. Would you kind of run us back through again, you know, from your vantage point, is top dressing kind of the best option, or, you know, are there other alternatives out there for getting fertilizer on a crop, you know, before harvest?
Some guys will just put it all down, you know, in the fall before they plant. Some people use anhydrous ammonia to do that. We don't use anhydrous. Others will use dry and try to put it all down at once. We don't necessarily do that because, you know, let's say this week froze out or something. We're spending a lot of money on that's just going to sit here. You know, you're not going to be able to utilize that fertilizer at that point.
Right.
Okay. We can go through here now.
So are there any, you know, I'd heard some say that, you know, there's a little loss in yield where the tire tracks are on the wheat. Is that accurate, or is that more of a, you know,
I think you'll probably have a little bit, you know.
Right.
But, you know, we're running these floater tires instead of the little skinny tires.
Yep.
You're spreading your weight out better, and I think you're going to smash, for lack of a better word, or squash less of the plants.
Right.
So I don't think it's as big a disadvantage.
And probably the advantages of top dressing outweighs, you know, any type of reduction in yield, just, you know, with the crop that you're not touching with the tire.
Right. And we're going to go over this weed anyway with the sprayer.
Yep.
Because, you know, we're putting down a little bit of chemical with this to, you know, try to kill weeds that are out here or coming in to keep the weeds at bay, so you don't have to fight them as bad at harvest.
Yep.
So we're going to be out here anyway,
right,
regardless. So since we are, let's take advantage. You know, we can get some soil samples. We can look at the condition of our wheat, what kind, you know, how it's growing, whether it's thin, thick, you know, how it came up, and make a determination on whether you want to add more fertilizer or not. You know, if you don't have a very good stand, or a really thin stand, or it's just not conducive to grow at that point, you may not put the fertilizer with it, but you're still going to come in and spray it with a little bit of chemical.
Right. And we're doing, what, 15 gallons an acre, so is somewhere in the 10 to 15 gallons an acre kind of the sweet spot?
Well, it depends on your fertility.
Okay.
More than anything else. You know, and this field, the fertility was lower than a lot of the others, so we decided to just up the gallons here, which ups the nitrogen. I mean, we're putting 15 gallon of 28% UAN down, which there's 3 pounds of nitrogen per gallon of this. On a 32% concentration, there's 3.5 pounds. We use the 28 like this in wheat for 2 reasons. One, we can get out here when it's colder because it doesn't fall out, freeze up on us. And 2, it doesn't burn the wheat. You know, you may still have a little bit of yellowing here, but nothing dramatic.
And it'll snap out of it pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that's one reason we're putting down 28% nitrogen instead of 32%. You would think 4% would make that big a difference, but
It does.
it'll burn this wheat pretty good. You know, it's just like, you know, people with lawns, you know, when the guys are out there with just their spray wand doing your lawn, you can see where they've overlapped and all that in your lawn, because it'll kind of turn yellow then after you get it all watered in.
Yeah.
It'll green back up and be a little greener than it will be where they didn't overlap.
Yeah.
But kind of the same principle out here as wheat, just we don't want to burn it.
Yep. And our viewers can see you're taking a full swath on this one with all the nozzles active.